everybody. Welcome to Keys to the Kingdom. I'm Marissa. We just finished with our Book of Leviticus reading, and now we're going to get into the rest of our Book of Jubilees study. We're actually in chapter 25 today, and we're going to be reading chapter 25 through 30 in the Book of Jubilees. So I hope you're excited. I know we've been seeing some things that are not in the scriptures that currently in the canon that we have now, and then we've been seeing some things that are similar. They line up. There's nothing that goes against the canon that we have now. It's just that there's a little extra information, and I always thought it was odd that we never saw any interaction between, like, we saw the sons interacting with the fathers, but not like the grandsons interacting with the grandfathers. So I always thought that was kind of weird. But last video we saw Abraham interacting with Jacob, and we don't see that in the scriptures. In fact, there was quite a bit of interaction between Jacob and Abraham last video. So we're going to pick up where we left off in chapter 25, and we're probably going to see a little bit more information again. And we're going to go through 5 chapters today into chapter 30. So I'm going to put the scriptures up on the screen so you can follow along. And let's see what it says. Let's study this book out. Let's see here. Let me just screen share for you. All right, so here we are in chapter 25, and it says, "In the 2nd year of this week in this Jubilee, Rebekah called Jacob, her son, and spoke to him, saying, 'My son, do not take a wife from the daughters of Canaan and Esau, your brother, who took 2 wives of the daughters of Canaan.'" Okay, so here we see Esau had taken 2 wives from the daughters of Canaan, but that isn't in our original canon. We knew that. "And they have made my soul bitter with all their unclean acts. For all their actions are fornication and lust, and there is no righteousness in them, because their deeds are evil. I love you greatly, my son, in my heart and my affection, bless you every hour of the day and at every night. Now, my son, listen to my voice and do the will of your mother, and do not take a wife of the daughters of this land, but only from the house of my father and of those related to my father." So basically, obviously, she's a mother, and she's grieving because her other son has married outside of the family unit and, is obviously the rebel of the family and has chosen the most unfit wives to be his wife. So she's talking to Jacob and says, "Please don't take a wife from the land of Canaan. If you will take a wife of the house of my father, the Most High Elohim will bless you, and your children shall be a righteous generation and a pure offspring." Then spoke Jacob to Rebekah, his mother, and said to her, "Look, mother, I am 9 weeks of years old, and I have neither been with nor have I touched any woman, nor have I engaged myself to any, nor have I even thought of taking me wives of daughters of Canaan." So this was not even in Jacob's mind at all. "For I remember, mother, the words of Abraham, our father, for he commanded me not to take a wife of the daughters of Canaan." So you see here, he's bringing up Abraham because he had a conversation with Abraham. We don't have that in our scriptures. In our scriptures, there's no interaction between Abraham and Jacob. There's no interaction between Abraham and Jacob. But we see that here in the Book of Jubilees. So he says, "He told me not to take a wife from the daughters of Canaan, but to take me a wife from the offspring of my father's house and from my kinfolk. I have heard before that daughters have been born to Laban, your brother, and I have set my heart on them to take a wife from among them. For this reason I have guarded myself in my spirit against sinning or becoming corrupt in any way throughout all the days of my life. For with regard to lust and fornication, Abraham my father gave me many commands." And obviously Esau, because we saw that he was a man of the world. When you see someone in the Bible, and it says he was a man of the field. That means he was a worldly person. And so obviously Esau has many other indications that he was a worldly person, one of those being that he was taking wives from the land of Canaan. Despite all that he commanded me, these 22 years my brother has argued with me and spoke frequently to me and said, my brother, take a wife that is a sister of my 2 wives. So Esau was trying to negatively affect or negatively influence Jacob. But I refused to do so, as he has done. I swear before you, mother, that all the days of my life I will not take me a wife from the daughters of the offspring of Canaan, and I will not act wickedly as my brother has done. Do not be afraid, mother. Be assured that I shall do your work and walk in uprightness and not corrupt my ways forever. When she heard this, she lifted up her face to heaven and extended the fingers of her hands and opened her mouth and blessed the Most High Elohim, who had created the heaven and the earth, and she gave him thanks and praise. She said, Blessed be Yah Elohim, and may his pure name be blessed forever and ever. He has given me Jacob as a pure son and a pure offspring, for he is yours, and yours shall his offspring be continually throughout all generations. All generations forever. Bless him, O Master, and place in my mouth the blessing of righteousness, that I may bless him. At that hour, when the spirit of righteousness descended onto her mouth, she placed both her hands on the head of Jacob and said, Blessed are you, Yah of righteousness and Elohim of the ages, and may you bless him beyond all the generations of men. My son, may he give you the path of righteousness and reveal righteousness to your offspring. May he make your sons many during your life, and may they arise according to the number of the months of the year. That's interesting. May they arise according to the number of the months of the year. Not sure what that means. And may your sons become many and great beyond the stars of heaven, and may their number be more than the sand of the sea. May he give them this good and blessed land, as he said he would give it to Abraham and his offspring after him always, and may they hold to it as a possession forever. You see, this promise was given to Abraham, and of course he passed it down. We just never see this dialogue in our scriptures. It's like almost like they never talk to each other. I'm not sure why that is. It's just interesting. My son, may I see blessed children born to you during my life, and may all your offspring be blessed and pure. And as you have refreshed your mother's spirit during her life, the womb of her that gave birth to you blesses you now. My affection and my heart bless you, and my mouth and my tongue greatly praise you. Increase and spread over the earth. May your offspring be perfect in the joy of heaven and earth forever. May your offspring rejoice, and on the great day of peace may they have peace. May your name and your offspring endure to all ages, and may the Most High Elohim be their Elohim. And may the Elohim of righteousness dwell with them. Elohim just means God, guys, in case you're confused. And may his sanctuary be built by you all the ages. Blessed be he that blesses you, and all flesh that curses you falsely, may it be cursed. And she kissed him and said to him, May Yah of the world love you as the heart of your mother, and her affection rejoice in you and bless you. And she ceased from blessing. See, we never see this blessing of Rebekah. We know that she loved him more than Esau, but we never see her blessing him like we do here, giving a pretty extensive blessing here in the Book of Jubilees. Okay, so chapter 26. In the 7th year of this week, Isaac called Esau, his elder son, and said to him, I am old, my son, and my sight is dim, and I do not know the day of my death. Now take your hunting weapons and your quiver. Okay, so this, we're getting into the portion that we see in the canon that we currently have. Okay, so this is where, Isaac is basically close to dying. Now take your hunting weapons, your quiver, your bow, and go out into the field and hunt and catch me venison, my son. And make me flavorful meat like my soul loves, and bring it to me that I may eat, and that my soul may bless you before I die. Really quick, this is interesting because I used to think that Isaac was not talked about as much because he was just so holy that he never did anything wrong. But it's interesting that Isaac, and he was the one that was supposed to be sacrificed, he was the child of promise between Abraham and Sarah, ends up favoring the child that is more worldly. And I don't understand that. Maybe it's just a guy thing. Maybe because he, brought home the meat, like he says. I just always thought that was odd that Isaac, the son of promise, the one who laid himself on the altar for his father to sacrifice him, ends up favoring the son who is the most worldly, even took daughters of Canaan to marry, and that's still kind of his favorite son. I always thought that was very strange. Okay, let's continue. Okay, so he's telling Esau to go catch him some meat and make it like he likes it, that my soul may bless you before I die. So he's going to give Esau his blessing. But Rebekah heard Isaac speaking to Esau. Esau went out early to the field to hunt and catch and bring home meat to his father. Rebekah called Jacob her son and said to him, "Look, I heard Isaac your father speak to Esau your brother, saying, 'Hunt for me and make me flavorful meat and bring it to me that I may eat and bless you before Yah before I die.' Now, my son, do as you are told and do as I command you. Go to your flock and fetch me 2 good kids of the goats, and I will make them good tasting meat for your father like he loves. And you will bring it to your father, and that he may eat and bless you to Yah before he dies." So she's trying to supersede Isaac in the blessing scenario. Jacob said to his mother, "Mother, I shall not withhold anything which my father would eat and which would please him, but I am afraid that he will recognize my voice and wish to touch me." So obviously he's blind, but he must sound very different from Esau. "And you know that I am smooth, and Esau my brother is hairy. And he will see me an evildoer, because I am doing something that he has not told me to do, and he will be very angry with me, and I shall bring on myself a curse and not a blessing." Rebekah his mother said to him, "Your curse be on me, my son. Just do as you're told." Jacob obeyed the voice of Rebekah his mother, and went and brought back 2 good fat goat kids, brought them to his mother, and his mother made them tasty meat like he loved. Good and pleasing clothes of Esau, her son, her elder son. Elder son, he came out first, but they were basically fraternal twins and not identical twins. Which was with her in the house, and she clothed Jacob, her younger son, with them. And she put the skins of the kids on his hands and on the exposed parts of his neck. And she gave the meat and the bread which she had prepared to her son Jacob. Jacob went to his father and said, "I am your son. I have done this as you've asked me. Arise and sit and eat of that which I have caught, father, that your soul may bless me." Isaac said to his son, "How have you found game so quickly, my son?" Jacob said, "Because Yah, your Elohim, caused me to find." I think that's funny. That was a pretty good excuse. Isaac said to him, "Come closer, that I may feel you, my son, and know that you are my son Esau or not." Jacob went near Isaac, his father, and he felt him and said, "The voice is Jacob's voice, but the hands are the hands of Esau." And he did not recognize him, because it was a decision from heaven to remove his power of perception. And Isaac discerned not, because his hands were hairy, as his brother's Esau's, so Isaac blessed him. So we actually see all of this in the scripture that we have, in the canon that we have, but we don't see this part where it says that heaven, it was a decision from heaven. In other words, we don't see the part where heaven was acting in a part to make Isaac's discernment not know that it was Esau. He said, "You are my son. Are you my son Esau?" And Jacob said, "I am your son." And Isaac said, "Bring it to me that I may eat of it which you have caught, my son, that my soul may bless you." And Jacob brought it to him, and he ate. And Jacob brought him wine, and he drank. Isaac his father said to him, "Come close and kiss me, my son." He came close and kissed Isaac. He smelled the smell of his raiment, and he blessed Jacob and said, "Look, the smell of my son is as the smell of a full field which Yah has blessed. May Yah give you the dew of heaven and the dew of the earth, and plenty of corn and oil. Let nations serve you and people bow down to you." Now this is a little suspicious, this corn. I don't think there's any corn in Israel. I don't think there's any corn anywhere around, even the Middle East. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's kind of odd that this is translated as corn. And maybe it's just a poor translation. I don't know. We'll have to look into that. "Let nations serve you and peoples bow down to you. Be ruler over your brothers." That's interesting. It says brothers, because as far as we know, he's got one brother. "Let your mother's sons bow down to you." It would not be odd to think that they had other brothers. Typically, you only hear about the elder, but it would be very strange for them to only have 2 children. But it says, "Rule over your brothers, let your mother's sons bow down to you, and may all the blessings that Yah has blessed me and blessed Abraham, my father, be imparted to you and your offspring forever. Cursed be he that curses you, and blessed be he that blesses you." It happened as soon as Isaac had made an end of the blessing his son Jacob, that Jacob had went away from Isaac, his father, and hid himself. Esau his brother came in from hunting, and he also made flavorful meat, and brought it to his father. And Esau said to his father, "Let my father arise and eat of my venison, that your soul may bless me." Isaac his father said to him, "Who are you?" Esau said to him, "I am your firstborn, your son Esau. I have done as you commanded me." Isaac was very greatly surprised, and said, "Who is he that has hunted and caught and brought it to me? And I have eaten of all before you came, and have blessed him, and he shall be blessed, and all his offspring forever." It happened when Esau heard the words of his father Isaac, that he cried with a very loud cry and bitter cry, and said to his father, "Bless me also, father." Isaac said to him, "Your brother came with trickery, and has taken away your blessing." He said, "Now I know why his name is Jacob. Behold, he has supplanted me these 2 times. He took away my birthright, and now he has taken away my blessing." Esau said, "Have you not reserved a blessing for me, father?" And Isaac answered and said to Esau, "Look, I have made him your master, and all his brothers have I given to him for servants. I have strengthened him with plenty of corn and wine and oil. Now what shall I do for you, my son?" Esau said to Isaac his father, "Have you only one blessing, father? Please bless me also, father." Esau lifted up his voice and wept, and Isaac answered and said to him, "Far from the dew of the earth shall be your dwelling, and far from the dew of heaven from above. By your sword will you live, and you will serve your brother. It shall happen that when you become great and do shake his yoke from off your neck, you will sin completely." Okay, hold on a second. "And commit sin worthy of death, and your offspring shall be rooted out from under heaven." Okay, so this is saying that when he becomes great and he shakes the yoke of Jacob off of his neck, that he will sin completely, and commit a sin worthy of death. That Esau's offspring is going to do that. And your offspring shall be rooted out from under heaven. Esau kept threatening Jacob because of the blessing his father blessed him with, and he said in his heart, "May the days of mourning for my father come now, so that I may kill my brother Jacob." In other words, right after our father dies, I'm going to kill my brother Jacob. Okay, chapter 27 says, Rebekah was told Esau's words in a dream. Okay, so this we don't see in our canon. And Rebekah sent for Jacob, her younger son, and said to him, "Look, Esau, your brother, will take vengeance on you and kill you." Now this she did say to Jacob, but we don't see her having a dream. We don't see her having a dream of what Esau was going to do. Okay, so she's warning Jacob, and it says, "Now therefore, my son, do as you were told, and get up and flee to Laban my brother in Haran, and stay with him a few days until your brother's anger fades, and he removes his anger from you and forgets all that you have done. Then I will send for you to come from that place." Okay, so all of this we do see in our scriptures, in the canon that we have. Jacob said, "I am not afraid. If he wishes to kill me, I will kill him." That we also do not see. But she said to him, "Let me not be bereft of both my sons in one day." Jacob said to Rebekah his mother, "Look, you know that my father has become old and does not see because his eyes are dull. If I leave him, he will think it is wrong. If I leave him and go away from you, my father will be angry and will curse me. I will not go. When he sends me, only then will I go." Rebekah said to Jacob, "I will go in and speak with him, and he will send you away." Leave it to the wife to go speak to the husband, right? Rebekah went in and said to Isaac, "I hate my life because of the two daughters of Heth, whom Esau has taken as wives. If Jacob take a wife from among the daughters of the land, such as these, I could not live with it, because the daughters of Canaan are evil." Oh, she's coming from a good place here. She's using a good perspective so she can get to Isaac. Isaac called Jacob and blessed him and warned him and said, "Hi, Raheem, blessings. Good to see you. Glad you could make it." Isaac called Jacob and blessed him and warned him and said to him, "Do not take you a wife of any of the daughters of Canaan. Arise and go to Mesopotamia, to the house of Bethuel, your mother's father, and take a wife from the place of the daughters of Laban, your mother's brother. And Elohim Almighty bless you and increase and multiply you, that you may become a company of nations, and give you the blessing of my father Abraham to you and your offspring after you, that you may inherit the land that you travel in, and all the land which Elohim gave to Abraham. Go in peace, my son." Isaac sent Jacob away, and he went to Mesopotamia. It's probably a poor translation. That word Mesopotamia would not have been used until much later on, so I don't know, maybe they were just using it as part of a translation later on. But that wouldn't have been the word that they would have used. To Laban the son of Bethuel in Syrian, the brother of Rebekah, Jacob's mother. It happened, after Jacob had departed to Mesopotamia, that the spirit of Rebekah was grieved for her son, and she wept. Isaac said to Rebekah, "My sister, weep not because of Jacob, my son, for he goes in peace, and in peace he will return. The Most High Elohim will preserve him from all evil, and will be with him. He will not forsake him all his days, for I know that his ways will be made to prosper in all things wherever he goes, until he return in peace to us, and we see him in peace. Fear not on his account, my sister, for he is on the upright path, and he is a perfect man, and he is faithful and will not perish. Weep not. That's a conversation that we don't see in the scripture. Isaac comforted Rebekah because of her son Jacob and blessed him. Jacob went from the well of Oath to go to Haran on the first year of the second week in the 44th Jubilee. And he came to Luz on the mountains, that is Bethel, in the first new month of this week. And he came to the place at dusk and turned from the way to the west of the road that is close. And that night he slept there, for the sun had set. He took one of the stones of that place as a pillow and laid down under the tree, and he was journeying alone, and he slept. I think it's odd that he was journeying alone. Typically back then, you had people go with you. I'm pretty sure that Isaac and Rebekah had, servants. I'm not really sure why it says he was journeying by himself. Jacob dreamt that night and saw a ladder set up on the earth, and the top of it reached to heaven. And he saw the messengers of Yah ascended and descended on it. And behold, Yah stood on it. And he spoke to Jacob and said, I am Yah Elohim of Abraham your father, and the Elohim of Isaac. The land you are sleeping on, I will give to you and your offspring after you. So he's prophesying him. He's prophesying to Jacob what he's going to do. Your offspring will be as the dust of the earth. And remember, he always, when God speaks something, he speaks as though it's already come to pass. But it could be many, many years, even a couple of generations or many generations before it comes to pass. But when he speaks it as though it is present now. Your offspring shall, or as if it's very, very soon. Your offspring shall be as the dust of the earth, and you will increase to the west and to the east, to the north and to the south. And in you and in your offspring shall all the families of the nations be blessed. Behold, I will be with you, and I will keep you wherever you go. I will bring you into this land again in peace. I will not leave you until I do everything that I told you. Jacob awoke from his sleep and said, Truly this place is the house of Yah, and I did not know it. And he was afraid and said, I am afraid because this place is none other than the house of Elohim, and this is the gate of heaven, and I did not know it. I think we've discussed this when we were doing our Book of Genesis. When we were doing our Book of Genesis study, we talked about how it was possibly a portal, one of many portals on the earth between the physical and the spiritual realm. Between earth and the throne of Yahuwah, which is supposed to be right on top of the firmament. And so it was interesting that Jacob referred to it as a gate of heaven. And we had talked about it being a portal. And, most of us dream at night, but there will be certain dreams that Yahuwah will give you, and you will know. You will know that you know that you know. This is not a regular dream. And then you know that it is a message from Yahuwah, because it's not your typical every night dream. You'll just know. Your spirit will know. It will be different. Your dreams that are a message from Yahuwah they'll just be very different, and there will be a clear message. Typically very clear that it's a message, even if you don't get the whole message. All right, let's continue. Jacob got up early in the morning and took the stone that he had placed under his head and set it up as a pillar for a sign. And he poured oil on top of it, and he called the name of the place Bethel. But the name of the place was previously Luz. And Jacob vowed a vow to Yah, saying, If Yah will be with me, and will keep me in the way that I go, and give me bread to eat and clothes to put on, so that I come again to my father's house in peace, then Yah shall be my Elohim, and this stone which I have set up as a pillar for a sign in this place shall be Yah's house. And of all that you gave me, I shall give you a tenth. I'll give a tenth to my Elohim. So he's talking about tithing. And remember, we saw Abraham was a tither as well. He gave a tenth to Melchizedek, and he gave a tenth. I think we also saw Noah giving a tenth in the Book of Jubilees. We just didn't see Noah giving a tenth in the scriptures that we have. And now we see, obviously, they're passing this down to their children, and Jacob is giving a tenth promising to give a tenth to Yahuwah if he does this, this, and this. All right, so now we are in chapter 28. So a few more chapters, guys. He went on his journey and came to the land of the east, to Laban, the brother of Rebekah, and he was with him. And Jacob served Laban for Rachel, his daughter, 1 week of years. Okay, so that meant 7 years, 1 week of years. In the first year of the 3rd week of years, he said to him, "Give me my wife, for whom I have served you 7 years." And Laban said to Jacob, "I will give you your wife." Laban made a feast and took Leah his elder daughter and gave her to Jacob as a wife. And he gave Leah Zilpah for a handmaid. And Jacob did not know, for he thought that she was Rachel. So it's not in our scripture, but it is almost it is a thought that Rachel and Leah were also twins like Jacob and Esau. And that's why, I mean, obviously a sister could look very similar to a sister. But some people think maybe they were twins, and that's why he didn't recognize that it was Leah and not Rachel. Very possible. But it does not say that. He went in to her and saw she was Leah, and Jacob was angry with Laban and said to him, "Why have you done this to me? Did I not serve you for Rachel and not for Leah? Why have you wronged me? Take your daughter and I will go. You have done evil to me." For Jacob loved Rachel more than Leah, because Leah's eyes were weak, but her form was very beautiful. Rachel had beautiful eyes and a beautiful and very voluptuous form. So this is basically saying that Rachel was very, that Leah's form was beautiful, but her eyes were weak. But Rachel had beautiful eyes and a beautiful form. So obviously he's a man, you know. But I mean, I know that's what it's saying here in Jubilees. And it does mention Leah's eyes in our scriptures, in the canon that we have. But I just always thought he fell in love with Rachel because that's who he saw first. I mean, he never even saw Leah. He just saw Rachel, fell in love with her, and then later on saw Leah. So I just always assumed that he fell in love with Rachel first. So he just kind of stuck with that. I don't know. But this is insinuating that Rachel had a nice body, basically, and beautiful eyes, whereas Leah's eyes were maybe smaller. I don't know. Laban said to Jacob, "It is not done that way in our country. We do not give the younger before the elder." So Rachel was the younger. And I kind of thought, that made more sense because, there was a big stink about, Isaac was the younger and he was favored, and then Jacob was considered the youngest, so he was favored. So it kind of made sense that he would have fallen in love with the younger of the two sisters, maybe just kind of having some sort of, kinship or just kind of feeling a similarity, being that this was sort of a running theme with the the younger sibling throughout the family. But I don't know, this is insinuating just because of the way she looked, but okay, let's keep going. Laban said to Jacob, it is not done. Okay, sorry. To give the younger daughter before the elder, but the elder one is given first, and after her the younger. The man who does so will have guilt placed against him in heaven, and none is righteous that does this thing, for his deed is evil before Yah. So he's saying, he's basically using the excuse that it's not proper to give the younger daughter before the eldest daughter. Command the children of Israel. Okay, so this is interesting here. This is oh wait, let's back up, because this is kind of odd. This is kind of strange. This I don't understand. For thus it is ordained and written in the heavenly tablets. He's saying that this is the law from the beginning, that no one should give his younger daughter before the elder. Even in the Torah, I don't believe, and honestly, I would have to research this. I don't believe there's a law saying that you have to give away the eldest, although it was very much tradition. I don't know that there was actually a law in the Torah. So I'm curious about this. But he's actually saying here, for this deed is evil before Yah. But then it says here, command the children of Israel that they not do this thing. Let them neither take nor give the younger before they have given the elder, for it is very wicked. So this is actually kind of questionable to me, because this is actually very questionable. Very, very questionable for me. This should actually not even be here, because it says command the children of Israel that they do not do such a thing. And Jacob's name was not changed until he wrestled with the angel after he had already left Laban's house. So either this was inserted into the text, or it was translated afterwards very poorly and out of order, because even though later on Jacob is called Israel, he is not yet called Israel, so Laban would not have called him Israel, because his name was not changed until he had wrestled with the angel. So this part's a little bit questionable for me. I don't know if this is, like I said, just, because the problem with extra biblical texts is when they were translated, they were not translated with the care that was given to the canon that we have now. Extra biblical texts were not with the scrutiny of translation that the other books were. So it makes me wonder if this was either inserted into the Book of Jubilees, or if it was a poor translation and they put Israel instead of Jacob when they translated it. Or maybe just this particular translation is a bad translation. I don't know. But he shouldn't be calling him Israel yet. I just thought I should point that out. So let them neither. So he's saying this is Laban telling Jacob to command the children of Israel that they do not do this thing. Let them neither take nor give the younger before they have given the elder, for it is very wicked. And back then, it would have been considered wicked, because you want to marry off the eldest while she's still desirable, so that she will find a husband, because the idea is you need to find a husband for your daughter so that she can have a family, and obviously, keep the commandments of Yah regarding family, and, just carry on the, so that she can have her own family. So that's why it would have been considered wicked, but I will have to look into the Torah and the laws that were actually given to see if that was actually ever a commandment, because I don't recall that being a commandment, even though it was very much embedded in the culture to do that. I'll have to study that out. And Laban said to Jacob, "Let the 7 days of the feast pass by, and I shall give you Rachel." So basically, have the 7 days of the wedding feast. Okay? And then I'll give you Rachel, that you may serve me another 7 years, that you may pasture my sheep as you did in the former week of years. And on the day when the 7 days of the feast of Leah had passed, Laban gave Rachel to Jacob, that he may serve him another 7 years. So this was purely selfish on Laban's behalf. Okay, so he wanted Jacob to continue to serve him. He also wanted to marry his 2 daughters off to a man that's worthy. So, was he really that selfish? Probably somewhat, yeah. But he also probably didn't think that he was ever going to find a good enough man for both daughters, because they were also surrounded by, pagans and Canaanites and stuff like that. So and Esau was already married off to Canaanite women, so it's very possible that Laban just wanted both of his daughters, because obviously he would have loved both of his daughters, that he would have wanted both of his daughters to be married off to someone that was worthy, and Jacob was very worthy, and he was wealthy. Okay, so when the 7 days of the feast Leah had passed, Laban gave Rachel so that he may serve him another 7 years, and he gave Rachel Bilhah, the sister of Zilpah. So Bilhah and Zilpah were sisters, and they were both given to Rachel and Leah as handmaids. He served yet another 7 years for Rachel. For Leah he had been given to him for nothing, since it was Rachel he wanted. And Yah opened the womb of Leah, and she conceived and gave birth to a son for Jacob, and he called his name Reuben, on the 14th day of the 9th month, in the 1st year of the 3rd week. But the womb of Rachel was closed, for Yah saw that Leah was hated and Rachel was loved. I'm pretty sure she probably wasn't hated, but she was probably not given much attention. I don't think, when it says hated, that's probably a poor word, although she probably felt hated. But I don't think Jacob was mistreating her or anything. It was probably she just didn't get any attention. Again, Jacob went into Leah, and she conceived and gave birth to a second son for Jacob. And he called his name Simeon, on the 21st of the 10th month, in the 3rd year of this week. Again, Jacob went into Leah, and she conceived and gave birth to a third son, and called his name Levi. So the first one was Reuben, and then Simeon, and then Levi is the third son, in the first new month, on the 6th year of this week. And again, Jacob went into her, and she conceived and gave birth to a fourth son, and called his name Judah, on the 15th of the 3rd month, in the 1st year of the 4th week. Because of all this, Rachel envied Leah, for she did not bear a child. And she said to Jacob, "Give me children." And Jacob said, "Have I withheld from you the fruits of your womb? Have I left you?" And when Rachel saw that Leah had given birth to 4 sons for Jacob, Reuben, Simeon, Levi, and Judah, she said to him, "Go into Bilhah, my handmaid, and she will conceive and bear a son for me." She gave him Bilhah, her handmaid, to wife. And he went into her, and she conceived and gave birth to a son. This just tells you how important it was to have children. The fact that you would give another woman to your husband just so you could have children. It was like the most important thing in the entire world, was to have children. And she gave birth to a son and called his name Dan, on the 9th of the 6th month, in the 6th year of the 3rd week. Jacob again went into Bilhah a second time, and she conceived and gave birth to another son for Jacob. and Rachel called his name Naphtali, on the 5th of the 7th month in the 2nd year of the 4th week. When Leah saw that she had become sterile and could no longer have children, she envied Rachel, and she also gave her handmaid Zilpah to Jacob to wife. What a mess. This is just turning into a big mess, all because of jealousy. And she conceived and gave birth to a son, and Leah called his name Gad, on the 12th of the 8th month in the 3rd year of the 4th week. He went in to her again, and she conceived and gave birth to a second son, and Leah called his name Asher, on the 2nd of the 11th month in the 5th year of the 4th week. Jacob went in to Leah, and she conceived and gave birth to a son, and she called his name Issachar, on the 4th of the 5th month in the 4th year of the 4th week, and she gave him to a nurse. Jacob went in again to her, and she conceived and gave birth to 2 children, a son and a daughter. And she called the name of the son Zebulun and the name of the daughter Dinah. I wonder if they were twins, because it's grouping them together. We know about Dinah, but our scriptures, our canon, did not group them together as being birthed at the same time. On the 7th day of the 7th month in the 6th year of the 4th week. Yah was gracious to Rachel and opened her womb, and she conceived. So Rachel is conceiving for the first time, and gave birth to a son, and she called his name Joseph, on the 4th new moon in the 6th year on the 4th week. In the days when Joseph was born, Jacob said to Laban, "Give me my wives and sons, and let me go to my father Isaac, and let me make a household for myself. For I have completed the years in which I have served you for your 2 daughters, and I will go to the house of my father." Laban said to Jacob, "Stay with me, and I will pay you your wages, and pasture my flocks for me again, and take your wages." They agreed with one another that he should give him his wages, those of the lambs and kids which were born spotted, black and white. These were to be his wages. All the sheep brought out spotted and speckled and black, variously marked, and they brought out again lambs like themselves. And all that were spotted were Jacob's, and those that were not spotted were Laban's. Jacob's possessions multiplied greatly, and he possessed oxen and sheep and donkeys and camels and men servants and maidservants. Laban and his sons envied Jacob, and Laban took back the sheep from him, and he envied him and watched him for an opportunity to do evil. So clearly Laban was, if this is what we're going off of here in Jubilees, which we don't see this part in the book of, or in our canon in the book of Genesis, then Laban was completely selfish. Everything was for selfish reasons. And now he's envying Jacob. Okay, chapter 29. 2 more chapters, guys. It happened when Rachel had given birth to Joseph that Laban went to shear his sheep, for they were distant from him, a 3-day journey. Jacob saw Laban was going to shear his sheep, and Jacob called Leah and Rachel and spoke sweetly to them in order to convince them to come with him to the land of Canaan. For he told them how he had seen everything in a dream, all that Elohim had spoken to him, that he would return to his father's house. And they said, "To every place where you will go, we will go with you." Jacob blessed the Elohim of Isaac his father, and the Elohim of Abraham his father's father. And he arose and placed his wives and his children on donkeys, and took all his possessions, and crossed over the river, and came to the land of Gilead. And Jacob hid his intention from Laban, and did not tell him. In the 7th year of the 4th week, Jacob turned his face toward Gilead in the 1st month on the 24th of it. Laban pursued and overtook Jacob in the month of Gilead in the 3rd month on the 13th of it. And Yah did not permit him to injure Jacob, for he appeared to him in a dream by night. We do see that in our scripture, where the Lord appears to Laban and basically threatens him not to touch Jacob. Laban spoke to Jacob on the 15th of those days. Jacob made a feast for Laban and for all who came with him. And Jacob swore to Laban that day, and Laban has also swore to Jacob, that neither should cross the mountain of Gilead to do evil to the other. He made a heap of stones for a witness there. Wherefore the name of that place is called the Heap of Witness, after this heap. But before they used to call on the land of Gilead, before they used to call the land of Gilead the land of the Rephaim. Remember, the Rephaim are part of the Nephilim. The Rephaim were born giants whose height was 10, 9, 8, down to 7 cubits. So we do not see this in the book of Genesis, where it's talking about the Rephaim that used to dwell in Gilead, and they had born giants. I mean, we see giants throughout Genesis, but just not in this portion of Genesis. Their dwelling place was from the land of the children of Ammon, and remember, the children of Ammon were the descendants of Lot, to Mount Hermon. And the seats of their kingdom were Kernaim and Ashtaroth and Edrei and Mishur and Beon. Yah destroyed them because of the evil of their deeds, for they were malevolent, and the Amorites were wicked and sinful. There is no people today which has committed the full range of their sins, and their life on earth was shortened. Jacob sent Laban away, and he departed into Mesopotamia, the land of the east, and Jacob returned to the land of Gilead. He passed over the Jabbok in the 9th month, on the 11th of it. On that day Esau his brother came to him, and he was reconciled to him, and he departed from him in the land of Seir. But Jacob dwelt in tents. So here we see it cuts straight to, it cuts out all of the part of between Jacob leaving and Jacob meeting up with Esau. It just cuts straight to the point that he met up with him and was reconciled to him, and then they split up. In the first year of the 5th week in this Jubilee, he crossed the Jordan and dwelt beyond the Jordan. He pastured his sheep from the sea of the heap to Bethshan, and to Dothan, and to the forest of Akrabim. He sent his father Isaac all of his possessions, such as clothing and food and meat and drink and milk and butter and cheese and some dates of the valley. 4 times a year he sent gifts to his mother Rebekah, who was living at the tower of Abraham. He sent the gifts between the times of the months, between plowing and reaping, and between autumn and the rain season, and between winter and spring. For Isaac had returned from the well of the oath and gone up to the tower of his father Abraham, and he dwelt there apart from his son Esau. We don't see that in our current canon, in the book of Genesis. For in the days when Jacob went to Mesopotamia, Esau took to himself a wife, Mahalath, the daughter of Ishmael. So this was when Esau was trying to win back the favor of his father by taking another wife from the daughter of Ishmael. And he gathered together all the flocks of his father and his wives, and went up and dwelt in Mount Seir, and left Isaac his father at the well of oath alone. So you see here that Esau has now mingled with the family of Ishmael. And Isaac went up from the well of oath and dwelt in the tower of Abraham his father, on the mountains of Hebron. And that is where Jacob sent all that he did send to his father and his mother from time to time, all they needed, and they blessed Jacob with all their heart and with all their soul. All right, last chapter, chapter 30. In the first year of the 6th week, he went up to Salem, to the east of Shechem, in the 4th month, and he went in peace. Shechem, the son of Hamor, the Hivite, the prince of the land, carried off Dinah, the daughter of Jacob, into the house, and he had sex with her and defiled her. She was a little girl, a child of 12 years. So in the book of Genesis, we see this happening to Dinah, but it doesn't mention her age, and it doesn't say that she was a little girl. It just says that he took her and basically forced her to have sex with him. And this was in the land of in the land of Shechem. He begged his father and her brothers that she might be given to him as a wife. Jacob and his sons were very angry because of the men of Shechem, for they had defiled Dinah their sister. They spoke to them while planning evil acts, and they dealt deceitfully with them and tricked them. Simon and Levi, now this we do see in the book of Genesis. Simon and Levi came unexpectedly to Shechem and executed judgment on all the men of Shechem and killed all the men whom they found in it. They did not leave a single one remaining. They killed all in hand-to-hand battle because they had dishonored their sister Dinah. Let it not again be done from now on that a daughter of Israel be defiled. Judgment is ordained in heaven against them that they should destroy all the men of the Shechemites with the sword because they had committed shame in Israel. Yah delivered them into the hands of the sons of Jacob that they might exterminate them with the sword and execute judgment on them, that it might not again be done in Israel that a virgin of Israel should be defiled. If there is any man in Israel who wishes to give his daughter or his sister to any man who is the offspring of the Gentiles, he shall surely die. He shall surely die. For he shall stone him, for he has committed shame in Israel. They shall burn the woman with fire because she has dishonored the name of the house of her father, and she shall be rooted out of Israel. Do not let an adulteress and let no uncleanness be found in Israel throughout all the days of the generations of the earth. For Israel is pure to Yah, and every man who has defiled it shall surely die. They shall stone him. For it has been ordained and written in the heavenly tablets regarding all the offspring of Israel. He who defiles it shall surely die. He shall be killed by stoning. There is no limit of days for this law. There is no remission and no atonement. The man who has defiled his daughter shall be rooted out from every corner of all Israel, because he has given his offspring to Moloch, a pagan deity, the worship of which involved burning the child alive, and committed impurity and defiled the child. So this is basically going into how serious it was not to give your daughters to the men of these nations surrounding Israel. Moses commanded the children of Israel and exhorted them not to give their daughters to the Gentiles. Okay, so this is actually, the fact that it's mentioning Moses here is giving me a little bit more idea of why we saw Israel later. And I actually forgot that the Book of Jubilees is said, well, the Book of Jubilees says in the beginning that it was given to Moses. So it was written from a perspective of all of these things already having happened. So maybe that's why we saw Israel earlier, and why now it's mentioning Moses is because the Book of Jubilees was given at Mount Sinai, while Moses was up on Mount Sinai for 40 days and 40 nights. So that could be why we see some things that have a little bit of a future tense or should have been mentioned about in the future. It makes more sense now that I remember and recall that it was actually given to Moses. So it could have been written from that perspective. So now it actually makes more sense to me. So it says, Moses commanded the children of Israel and exhorted them not to give their daughters to the Gentiles, and not to take for their sons any of the daughters of the Gentiles. For this is abominable before Yah. It is because of this that I have written all the deeds of the Shechemites, which they committed against Dinah, and placed them in the words of the law for you. I have also written how the sons of Jacob spoke, saying, we will not give our daughter to any man who is uncircumcised, for that is a reproach to us. It is a reproach to Israel that anyone take the daughters of the Gentiles, for this is unclean and abominable to Israel. Israel will not be free from this uncleanness if it has a wife of the daughters of the Gentiles, or has given any of its daughters to a man who is as of any of the Gentiles. The book of Genesis will say any of the Canaanites or the nations, but the book of Jubilees is using the word Gentiles. There will be plague upon plague and curse upon curse, and every judgment and plague and curse will come if he does this thing, or if they ignore those who commit uncleanness, or defile the sanctuary of Yah, or those who profane his pure name. If any of these happen, the whole nation together will be judged for all the uncleanness and profanation of this man. There will be no judging people by their position, and no receiving fruits or offerings or burnt offerings or fat or the fragrance of sweet odor from his hands. It will be unacceptable, and so warn every man and woman in Israel who defiles the sanctuary. For this reason I have commanded you, saying, give this testimony to Israel. See how the Shechemites and their sons fared. See how they were delivered to the hands of 2 sons of Jacob, and they killed them under torture. It was counted to them for righteousness, and it is written down to them for righteousness. The offspring of Levi were chosen for the priesthood, and to be Levites, that they might minister before Yah, as we do continually. Levi and his sons will be blessed forever. For he was zealous to execute righteousness and judgment and vengeance on all those who arose against Israel. So they wrote a testimony in his favor of blessing and righteousness on the heavenly tablets in the presence of Elohim of all. We remember the righteousness that the man fulfilled during his life throughout the years until 1,000 generations that will record it. It will come to him and to his descendants after him, and he has been recorded in the heavenly tablets as a friend and a righteous man. All this account I have written for you, and have commanded you to tell the children of Israel, so that they will not commit sin, nor transgress the laws, or break the covenant which has been ordained for them. They should fulfill it, and be recorded as friends of Elohim. But if they transgress and work uncleanness in any way, they will be recorded in the heavenly tablets as adversaries of Elohim, and they will be blotted out of the book of life. Instead, they will be recorded in the book of those who will be destroyed, and with those who will be rooted out of the earth. In the days when the sons of Jacob killed Shechem, it was written in the record in their favor in heaven, that they had executed righteousness and uprightness and vengeance on the sinners, and it was written for a blessing. They brought Dinah their sister out of the house of Shechem. They took everyone that was in Shechem captive, and they took their sheep, their oxen, their donkeys, and all their wealth, and all their flocks, and brought them all to Jacob their father. He reproached them because they had put the city to the sword, for he feared those who dwelt in the land, the Canaanites and the Perizzites. The dread of all was on all the cities that were near Shechem. They did not fight or chase after the sons of Jacob, for terror had fallen on them. So it's confirming what we have in the book of Genesis, where Jacob was afraid of the surrounding nations, which is why he reproached his sons. So it was out of fear, where Jacob should have commended them for what they did. He was in fear because, well, they are surrounded by a land of giants. So, and these are not God-fearing people that he's surrounded by. So he was more afraid of what they would do to him for what his sons had done. Okay, so we did get quite a bit of extra information here, and so that last part actually helped me remember, and I needed to remember that the Book of Jubilees is written from a perspective of all of these things already having happened, and so because remember, this is Moses. According to the Book of Jubilees, it is written by Moses while he was on the Mount Sinai for 40 days and 40 nights. So, he might go back in and out of speaking about the past, speaking about why certain laws were given to the children of Israel. So, one thing I do want to research, and I would encourage you to research, is was it a law in the Torah for families to marry off their eldest daughter first. I'm curious to know if that was a law, because according to Book of Jubilees, that was made a law, and it was a law in the heavenly tablets. So I just did not personally recall that, so I want to go back and research that out. It's good to have a little homework, something to look forward to. Next time, we're going to pick up with chapter 31 in Jubilees. Okay, we may do that next Tuesday. We're probably going to do that next Tuesday, most certainly, actually. So next Tuesdays we'll get back into Jubilees, and we may even do our Bible study next Tuesday as well, just like today. But that's a little something I would like you to do a little homework on, do a little research on, just kind of go through the Torah and the laws in Leviticus and see, was it made a law by Yahuwah for families to give away their eldest daughter first? I know that it was very much culture, ingrained in the culture. I just want to find out if it was actually a law. So that's something to search out, seek out, make sure that the scriptures are lining up with each other. And maybe we'll discuss that, if I can remember it, in our videos next Tuesday. That will give us something to talk about next Tuesday. Jessica Torres, good to see you. So glad you were able to make it, sweetie. Okay, so that is our Jubilee study today. I'm gonna do that little study and find out if that was actually a law, and then we'll pick up in chapter 31 next Tuesday. I hope you guys have a blessed week, and I hope that you're if you have not already celebrated Shavuot, Pentecost, you know that I have, for the first time this year, gone off a different calendar. So we're celebrating it a month later than everybody else this year, just like we did with Pesach and Passover. So this year it's going to be June 20th. Okay, starting in the evening of the 19th, the Saturday night, and then Sunday the 20th, we will be celebrating Shavuot Pentecost. And I actually have a video that I'm going to be putting out. Not like this, not like a teaching video or anything like that. Just sort of an inspirational video like I did for Passover. I don't know if you were able to see that or not, but I did one. It was called Come Out of Egypt. And I have one that I'm almost finished with, having to do with Shavuot, and I hope to have it out soon. And we'll have it out just in time for when we are celebrating Shavuot Pentecost by the 20th of June. So we're looking forward to that. I hope you guys have a blessed week, and I hope to see you next Tuesday. See you then.